All right, I think I got this thing to work. I got this awesome new thing. Change the lighting. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been sharing the flyers. There's 2 flyers for the rally tomorrow morning. Just a reminder to all my family, friends, and people in the Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, Westchester County area. Tomorrow morning we will be meeting for a peaceful protest on fathers' rights and fathers' justice. Right in front of the Dutchess County Court, 50 Market Street, Peekskill, New York. We will be there at 11 a.m. and I plan to be finished or at least out of there by 12 noon. So if you live in the Poughkeepsie area or if you don't mind traveling to the Poughkeepsie area tomorrow morning, try to arrive. I'd say try to arrive about 10:30, 10:40. I'd say about 10:45 just so you can find parking. Parking's not the easiest in that area. But if you can, we're gonna be. I'm gonna be sharing some of the experiences that I had in Dutchess County Family Court, and I do want to make it very clear. Some people have been reaching out to me about what they've been experiencing in the same court with the same support magistrate, which is crazy. I was successful in the cases, in a sense. You know, I've been given equal joint or physical custody of my daughter, which is. According to the attorneys and people in Dutchess County Court, beyond amazingly almost impossible to do. And they removed child support payments from my, from me having to pay child support. And as many of you know, I was paying at one point about $600 every 2 months. $600 every month. And I had my daughter literally 4 to 6 days a week. Only days I didn't see my daughter was Monday. That's because I used to have council meetings, so I agreed to take Monday off. But fortunately, it worked out in my favor. But the disrespect, the unethical behavior from support magistrate Jean Pensalos was just unreal, unreasonable. You know, she asked my daughter's mother in the courtroom. When we were talking about a payment, I had a check for $1,200. In the courtroom, and my daughter's mother made an error on the paperwork on getting the money out of direct deposit. So the judge asked her if she wanted to put me in jail or if she wanted to accept the check that I had in the courtroom. The good thing about everything that I'm going to be talking about over the course of the next year or two, or however long it takes for me to get this woman out of office or change legislation, is everything that I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to share documentation too. I got the transcripts from the courtroom. In the second hearing, I spoke probably 9 times. Out of those 9 times, the judge literally interrupted me 5 times. So you can see, like when you look at the transcript, you can see me answering a question and her cutting me off. And one of the questions she asked me was about the child support, asking like, why do I think I shouldn't be paying so much child support? And I told her, you know, I'm not on any public assistance. I don't have Section 8 welfare, none of that stuff. And I said, you know, my daughter's mother is on different public assistance programs. So the judge said, well, what kind of public assistance programs? And I responded saying, well, for instance, I know she's on WIC and I know she's on, and as soon as I said that, she said, WIC's not public assistance. You can continue while I'm still listening though. And it was just like, well, damn. First of all, the fact that you cut me off, I don't tolerate that. So we don't even have to talk about child support. Let's talk about how you're going to respect me in this courtroom. And from that point on, it just went downhill. So I was able to secure the transcripts from the court hearing. I filed a complaint against the support magistrate. They removed her from my case. She's no longer allowed to see any cases with me, and they put a new support magistrate on there. And the minute this magistrate walked in there, he changed everything. It was just like, wow, you're paying $600. What? Like it was really unreal how I was treated in that courtroom. And then on top of that, when you walk in these courtrooms, whether you're a good guy, bad guy, green guy, tall guy, Mexican guy, fat guy, black guy, when you walk in there as a father, the attorneys like almost all get in your ear and they tell you, you know, because a few attorneys told me, like, you know, just when you go in her courtroom, just settle, man, because the judge is she's really rude, like just settle. And that's not what you should tell a person that goes into a justice court of law. Like you're in the court because you want to resolve something, not because you want to be treated a certain way or because you want to settle for the worst or for what that person thinks is the best when the entire fight is for the best interest of the child. So I'm going to share some information I've learned. Like, for example, I want everybody to take a look at National Parents Organization. Take a minute to Google it. In the state of Kentucky, when a child is born, the parents are born with equal rights to the child. So, you know, if a couple breaks up, a guy and a girl breaks up, or girl and a girl, guy and a guy, whatever your preference is, but if you have a child together and you decide to break up, one parent can't decide that they're going to take the child out of the state or out of the city without confronting or at least conversing with the other parent. Child support, you can't just break up with somebody and say I want child support. You have to actually show cause that the other person is not going to be a financially responsible parent. And also, in Kentucky, it has one of the lowest, if not the lowest, percentage of domestic violence cases. You know, so the courtrooms, when you walk into a courtroom in Kentucky, gives you an equal, or should I say a fair playing field, where everyone is kind of, you walk in here and the judge is like really trying to figure out who's going to be the more responsible parent if one's more responsible, who's going to be the more financially secure parent if one's more financially secure. When you walk in a courtroom in New York, it's like you're the father, you ain't shit. And those days are done. Here in the state of New York, those days are done. And again, after the way I was treated, I really almost felt as if I was like some type of horrible being. You know, I've never even, as a mayor of the city of Peekskill, like there were people who didn't like me because I was Republican. They didn't like me because I was, not because I'm, people who didn't like me because they were Republican. People who didn't like me because I was black. Because I didn't do what they asked me to do and I said do it. Like there was all types of reasons why people didn't like me. And some people would, when the homeless shelter issue came up, people was coming to the homeless shelter, coming to the council meeting with shirts, putting stuff on Facebook, anything you could think of. But none of them ever treated me the way this woman treated me when I walked in her courtroom, looking for justice, looking for a solution to a problem that two parents couldn't seem to get along with. I think that this courtroom may have put more of a damage on the possibilities of solutions between me and my daughter's mother than our actual issues did. And the way she spoke to me, the way she treated me, like she wouldn't even give me an opportunity to share what I felt was necessary. And it was, no matter what I said or what I did in her courtroom, and the other part of just cutting me off every time I talk, I told her, I told her in the courtroom, and it's on the file, and I wrote a letter to the courts saying I think she's the most incompetent judge in the world when it comes to mathematics. Like the numbers just don't add up. If I'm making this amount of money this year, per year, and I have my daughter 6 days of the week, there's no reason that I could logically think of that I should be paying this much money. And what makes matters worse, money is my daughter's mother paying for daycare, because I don't mind paying daycare expenses. Like I think that's a responsibility that everybody should have, every parent. And she said she's not disclosing that information. And I was like, okay. So of course, when she recused herself and I got the new judge, and I asked the new judge the same question, he said, oh, sure. Ma'am, do you want to answer or you want me to tell him? So she answered, and my daughter's mother is paying $22 a week for daycare. Now, they told me that they don't base child support on daycare expenses. They base child support solely on the amount of money you make per year, and it's up to 17%. So when they say up to 17%, a lot of fathers don't know this either. Up to 17% means the judge is supposed to look at the circumstances, meaning how much time you spend with the child, how much time the other parent spends with the child, how much money you have to put up for the child, and all of that's supposed to be considered in the conversation. So the judge doesn't have to make it 17%. The judge can say, okay, you have your daughter 6 days a week. Okay, so we'll make it 12%, or make it 7%. But what these judges do is they just say the thing says 17%, so I'm making it 17%. So if you make $100,000 a year, $17,000 is going to your child. If you make $1 million a year, you know how much is going to your child. And it's like, does it really, like, to me, it seems more like legal extortion. It almost seems like not necessarily child support, but maybe just call it financial support. If you call it financial support, I would have no problem with doing it. But this isn't child support. Child support is when you make sure that the parent is in the child's life. That's child support, but that's not what the courts want to hear. They don't care about that. And the other thing is, I don't think that not paying child support is a good thing if you're not involved in your child's life like you're supposed to be and being responsible. I think that if there's a person that has to chase a person for child support, I think the court system should pay. I think the court system should pay the parent child support, and they go chase the person that they get the child support from, rather than have a single parent mother, run around for 30 years trying to get a person to pay child support. But there's a lot more to it. The shared parenting bill that they passed in Kentucky is something I want to see in New York, and it's, again, deadbeat fathers that these women talk about. They make it just as hard for us as it is for them, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be going through this right now. So this is nowhere near highlighting or trying to help deadbeat fathers get by. But there's some deadbeat mothers out there. Trust and believe it. And also, the National Parents Organization also identifies neglecting a child from seeing the other parent as a form of child abuse. When I was in court, my daughter's mother violated the court order 43 times. My daughter's not even been alive for 4 years. 43 violations. That means there were Christmases I didn't see my daughter. And it's not like, it was a snowstorm and a tornado when she couldn't drive. You're talking about my son's birthday. His sister wasn't permitted to come because she didn't feel like driving. My son's birthday is May 3rd. My other daughter's birthday, August 20th. She didn't bring her down. She didn't feel like driving. In the summertime, she hurt her leg at work, so she wasn't driving down to Peekskill for 2 weeks. Like, just when I say violating the court order, though, that means like there's an actual order in place that you're supposed to abide by, that you and the other parent and your 2 attorneys agreed to, and you still broke the law. Now, I said to the judge, I don't want to make this a gender thing. I don't want to make this a racial thing, but I can't think of any law or policy on this planet that I, as an African American man, can break 43 times and walk away like nothing happened. It just doesn't make sense to me. So there are so many things that need to change in the family court system, and they definitely got the right one now. The idea is to bring awareness to it, and then bring awareness to legislation that's actually working in other states, and then bringing that legislation here to the state of New York. So I'm asking everybody who's available tomorrow. I know it's a Friday, and I know a lot of people working during the week, and it's hard to take off work. I had to take off work myself, so I don't expect everybody to just drop. But I want to do it. A lot of people are saying they want to come on the weekend. Do it on a Saturday. I'll bring 55 people with me. We'll have 700 people out there. And I'm like, I'm cool. I think that's a great idea. But I need to do it while this support magistrate is in the building. I want her to know that you started something that you could have easily prevented just by doing your job and being ethical. Like, just be respectful. Like when you raise your right hand and you're sworn into that position, it says without respect to all persons, and that means to respect anyone that walks in your courtroom. That's part of your duty. If you disrespect, or you're impartial, if you're biased for any reason, or if it even seems like you're biased for any reason, you're in violation of your own oath. It's a code of conduct issue. But we're going to push for all of that. But I need all of you all, if you're available Friday morning tomorrow, come over to 50 Market Street, Poughkeepsie, New York. If you're not available tomorrow, you being there in spirit means a lot to me. We're definitely going to do it again on the weekend. I'm not too crazy about hosting a bunch of rallies, but this rally, for some reason, it's come extremely close to my heart. I was almost offered by a judge to the other partner to be put in jail for an error that the other partner made, and just thinking that I'm gonna go to jail and be away from my kids because of a mistake that somebody else made. Now you've pretty much started something. So I'm in this now. Blood, sweat, and tears. I'm all in. So if you're willing to come out and support, take a day out of work, or if you're off tomorrow, if you're working remotely and you can take a lunch break between 11 and 12 and you're able to get to the Poughkeepsie area, come out. I'll be right in front of the courthouse on Market Street, 50 Market Street, Poughkeepsie, New York. And if you can't make it, like I said, Google National Parents Organization. Look up some of their information and what they're pushing as far as equal shared parenting throughout the United States of America. And again, this is not to support deadbeat fathers. This is definitely not to disrespect or harm women, or even scorn women, or whatever the title they give the women who are doing these things. This is to focus solely on the system and the way they treat people. You can be a broken-hearted man, you can be a broken-hearted woman, and when you're hurt, you hurt people. I get it. But that's why they have these things in place, so it doesn't affect the child. And when you're told that it's okay to violate a court order 43 times, prevent your child from seeing the other parent 43 times, and nothing happens to you, not that I want to see you go to jail, but there needs to be some sort of enforcement. That's just unfair from the get-go, and that needs to change. So we have a lot of things to fight for. We have a lot of legislation to try to push, and now we have a cause that I think is really going to help change. And like I said before, statistically showing, 90 or I think 80% of children who run away didn't have fathers in their homes. There's like 60% of the children who end up taking drugs at early ages, or even selling drugs at early ages, didn't have fathers in their homes. There's a lot of statistically proven facts and studies that show that having two parents, or a balance, whether man and wife and woman, whatever, having two parents in a balance really has a positive impact on a child. And these court systems are not promoting family. They're not promoting togetherness. And on top of that, for the taxpayers out there who are like, what does that have to do with me? We prolong court cases for years. First of all, when a person violates a court order 43 times, we shouldn't come to court every time that person violates the court order, because that's tax-paying dollars going to that judge and to that attorney that's appointed to her. Like, that's tax-paying money. They can see a problem and resolve it, but they choose not to. That's a problem. Taxpayers, that's your money that's paying these people. That's your money. And don't twist my words up. I know the social media people are going to twist everything, but don't twist the words up as if this is attacking all judges. Like, people who say they hate police, I don't put everybody in a bubble. But I know that there are people who are good, there are people who are bad. And when I find somebody that's bad, and especially if they're bad to me, it's like, wow. But when you're so bad that you're going to prevent me from possibly seeing my kids again, now there's an issue. So, again, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., meet us 50 Market Street, Poughkeepsie, New York, right in front of the family court. I'm going to express myself. I'm going to share some words about experiences and share some knowledge and information that I've learned. Like I said, about the National Parents Organization. There's an organization called Chop It Up. I'm going to share that. It's another fathers organization. There's a lot of fathers' rights organizations that's supporting this movement. I have a lot of information I'm going to have on the table for mothers and fathers that want to know. And I'll end with this too. There are a lot of women who have reached out to me about this woman's behavior in the courtroom. So this is not a let me collect all of the upset fathers who didn't get it their way. This is a woman who is abusing her power and destroying people's families simply because she doesn't care whether the father figure is in the child's life or not. And that's when you say the best interest of the child, you have to really consider that. And on top of that, look at the circumstances that both parents are in, so you can make an obviously logical decision. So, peace and love, y'all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This video is going to be up until tomorrow. But please, if you're available tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., try to get there a little early so you can park. Parking is not that easy in that area. So if you can get there about 10:40 or 10:45, I'd say, then you definitely have a better chance of finding a parking space. For all of my protesters that are coming, I'm going to ask you to remember that we are in a place of business. So we have to make sure the sidewalk is clear. We have to make sure the street is clear so people can still conduct business and go back and forth to the courtroom. Because if we block the sidewalks or if we block the streets, then the police do have the right to shut the rally down. And I see somebody say petition that judge. I have a petition I'm going to bring with me. I'm not going to push that to be signed tomorrow. I'm going to push that at a rally that I have on the weekend when I'm expecting like a good couple hundred people to show up. But I have put together a petition for her removal, or at least at minimum her investigation, so she could be held accountable for how she treats people in her courtroom. If it's impartial, if it's unfair, if it's unethical, it shouldn't be happening in the United States of America in 2022. So, thank y'all. I love y'all. Peace, love, and plenty of success.